Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. The station, called Confluence Point, looked like a silver flower blooming in the darkness of space, its metal petals curved outward in perfect symmetry, each one larger than her entire ship. Maya had been chosen to lead this mission because she was calm under pressure and good at reading people. She would need both skills today. The human race was about to meet alien civilizations for the first time, and everyone back on Earth was counting on her to not mess it up. Lisa Park walked up beside her carrying a tablet full of data about the aliens they were going to meet. Lisa was the best xenobiologist on Earth, even though she had never actually studied any aliens before today. Her red hair was tied back in a practical ponytail, and her green eyes sparkled with excitement. Chen joined them at the viewing window. She was the communications expert, and had spent months learning the basic alien languages. The universal translator would help, but Amy wanted to show respect by trying to speak their words. Her black hair was cut short, and she wore the standard blue uniform of the diplomatic corps. 3 women had worked together for 6 months preparing for this moment. They had run through every possible scenario, but nothing could really prepare them for meeting beings from other worlds. Maya felt nervous energy in her stomach, but she kept her face calm, for her crew. The alien message had arrived at Earth 2 years ago. It was an invitation to join something called the Veil Thara Empire. The message came with coordinates and a promise of peaceful contact. Maya still remembered the day. The world leaders decided to send a response now. Here they were, approaching a station that belonged to aliens who had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. The empire was made up of different species, who all worked together. The main ones were called the Sylvani, who looked like elves from old stories, and the Zephyrians, who were masters of biological science. Maya pressed the communication button and spoke to her crew throughout the ship. Today we make history for all of humanity. Remember your training, stay calm and follow protocol. We are here to learn and to show that humans can be trusted. The docking bay of Confluence Point was enormous. The New Horizon looked like a toy next to the massive alien ships already docked. There Maya could see vessels with flowing organic curves and others that seemed to be made of pure crystal. Light danced across their hulls in patterns that hurt to look at for too long. As they walked down the docking ramp, Maya felt the artificial gravity adjust to match Earth normal. The aliens had done this for human comfort, which was a good sign. The air smelled different here, like flowers and electricity mixed together. A group of aliens waited for them in the docking bay. The leader was tall and graceful, with pointed ears and silver hair that seemed to move on its own. Her skin had a pale blue tint, and her eyes were the color of starlight. She wore robes that shifted color as she moved. This was Ambassador Lirelei of the Sylvani. Maya had studied her picture, but seeing her in person was different. The alien woman radiated age and wisdom in a way that made Maya feel very young. She was beautiful, but in an otherworldly way that reminded you she was not human. Standing beside Lirelei was a woman with purple skin and 4 arms. Each arm ended in hands that had too many fingers. Her hair was white and cut in a geometric pattern that looked like it defied gravity. This was Counselor Vex Hera of the Zephyrians. Welcome, humans, Lirelei said in perfect English, though her voice had a musical quality that no human voice possessed. We have been curious about your species for some time. You have accomplished much in very little time. Maya stepped forward and gave a slight bow. The way they had practiced. I am Captain Maya Rodriguez, representing Earth and humanity. We are honored by your invitation and hope to build friendship between our peoples. Lirelei smiled, and it was like watching moonlight on water, beautiful, but strange. Her teeth were perfectly white and slightly too sharp. Your species fascinates us, Captain Rodriguez. In the time it takes most civilizations to develop basic spaceflight, you have reached the stars and sent ambassadors to distant systems. Lisa Park stepped forward with Amy Chen beside her. They had rehearsed this moment many times. We bring greetings from Earth and gifts from our world to show our peaceful intentions. Lisa said. The Sylvani ambassador tilted her head in a way that seemed curious rather than condescending. Peaceful intentions are admirable, though we wonder what drives such urgency in your people. Most species take thousands of years to reach this point. You have done it in mere centuries. Amy Chen activated her translator device and spoke carefully in what she hoped was proper. Silvani, we learn fast, because our time is short. We make the most of every moment. Vex Hera laughed, and the sound was like wind chimes in a storm. Short-lived indeed, your species averages less than 100 years while we measure our lives in millennia. Yet you burn so brightly in that brief time. The group began walking through corridors that seemed to be grown rather than built. The walls curved in organic patterns and soft light came from everywhere, and nowhere plants that looked like they belonged on alien worlds grew in alcoves along the way. Maya noticed that other aliens stopped to stare at the humans. Some looked curious, others seemed amused, a few appeared almost hungry in their interest. She made mental notes to discuss this with her team later. We have prepared quarters for you that match your atmospheric needs, Lirelei said as they walked tonight. We will share a meal together, and tomorrow we can begin formal discussions. Your arrival has generated much interest among our people. Why is that? Maya asked. She was trained to gather information, and the aliens seemed willing to talk. Vex Hera answered with her forearms moving in complex gestures. Because you represent something we have lost. Captain Rodriguez, your people face death yet. You create art, and music, and literature, as if you will live forever. You explore dangerous space, as if you have nothing to lose. But we have everything to lose, Amy said quietly. That is why we try so hard. Exactly. Lirelei smiled again, and Maya felt like the alien woman was seeing something about humans that even humans did not fully understand. You compress lifetimes of achievement into decades. You love intensely, because you know it will end. You take risks because safety might mean missing your chance. The group reached a large circular room, with a transparent dome, showing the stars outside. Furniture that could accommodate many different body types was arranged in comfortable groups. Art from dozens of worlds decorated the walls. This is where we will dine tonight, Vex Hera said. Fresh food from your world has been prepared alongside delicacies from Empire worlds. We hope you will find the experience pleasant. Maya looked around the room and felt the weight of history on her shoulders. In a few hours she would sit down to eat with aliens who had been alive longer than human civilization. The thought was both terrifying and amazing. Darlisa Park was already taking readings with discrete instruments built into her uniform. Amy Chen was listening to alien conversations and taking notes. Everything would be analyzed later to help understand these new allies or potential threats. As they were shown to their quarters, Maya caught Lirelei looking at her with an expression she could not read. The alien woman seemed to be studying her like a scientist studying an interesting specimen. It should have been uncomfortable. But instead, Maya felt oddly flattered. Tonight would be the real test, Maya thought. Dinner conversation would reveal more about alien intentions than any formal negotiation. She hoped she was ready for whatever these ancient beings wanted from human. Quarters were comfortable with furniture adjusted for human proportions. Fresh flowers from Earth sat on a table, showing the aliens had paid attention to human preferences. Maya sat on the bed and allowed herself one moment of nervousness before she had to be Captain Rodriguez again. In a few hours she would learn what price the aliens wanted for their friendship and technology. She just hoped humanity could afford to pay it. The dinner had been strange and wonderful, Maya thought, as she walked through the corridors of Confluence Point. The next morning brought new surprises, as Lirelei offered to show them actual worlds belonging to the Veilthera Empire. Our first stop will be Sylvani Prime, Lirelei explained as they boarded an alien transport ship. The vessel was beautiful, with walls that seemed alive and responded to touch. Your species should see what advanced civilization can achieve. The transport moved through space faster than anything humans had built. Maya watched through crystal windows as stars became lines of light. The journey that would take human ships months was completed, and Horsovani Prime appeared before them like a jewel hanging in space. The planet was covered in cities that glowed with soft light spires, reached toward the sky in elegant curves and parks filled with alien plants. Created patterns visible from orbit. Lisa Park pressed her face to the window. This is incredible. The energy readings alone showed technology. We can barely imagine how long did it take to build all this. Thousands of years. Lirale replied, but she did not sound proud. The way she said it made Maya think there was something sad about that fact. They landed in a city that took Maya breath away. Buildings grew from the ground like trees, but were made of materials that changed color with the light. Walkways floated in the air, connecting structures without visible support. Citizens moved through the streets with unhurried grace. The Sylvani people were all beautiful in the same otherworldly way as Lirale. They dressed in clothes that seemed to be made of light itself. Their movements were smooth and precise, like dancers who had practiced the same routine for centuries. Amy Chen walked beside a young Sylvani woman who had offered to show them around. "How old are you?" Amy asked, through her translator. The alien woman laughed like silver bells. "I am barely adult by our standards, only 300 years old. My grandmother has lived for over 5,000 years." Maya felt a chill at those numbers. Human civilization was younger than this one alien woman grandmother. The scale of time these beings worked with was beyond human understanding. Visited museums full of art that never changed and libraries containing the same books that had been read for millennia. Maya began to notice something troubling. Everything was perfect, but nothing was new. "Where are your new artists?" Maya asked as they toured a gallery filled with sculptures that were thousands of years old. Lirale paused at that question. "Art has been perfected, Captain Rodriguez. Why create inferior works when we have achieved the highest forms? Beauty does not need to change, but change brings new kinds of beauty," Dr. Lisa Park said gently. "On Earth, our art grows and develops with each generation. Each artist sees the world differently." The Sylvani guide looked confused. "Why would you want different views when you have found the correct one from Sylvani Prime?" They traveled to a Zephyrian world, where the cities were grown rather than built. Massive organic structures pulsed with life, and buildings healed themselves when damaged. The Zephyrian people had 4 arms and skin in shades of purple and blue. Here, they met Dr. Zara Lin, a researcher who studied biological systems. She was excited to meet humans, and asked many questions about their short lifespans. "Here, cellular structure is fascinating," she said, as she showed them through laboratories that looked more like gardens. "Humans repair damage quickly, and your brains form new connections at incredible speed." "Why does that matter?" Amy asked. "Because we have forgotten how to change," Dr. Zara Lin admitted. "When you live for thousands of years, your brain stops forming new pathways. Your thoughts become fixed patterns." Maya was beginning to understand something disturbing about these perfect alien civilizations. They had solved the problems of death and disease and war, but in doing so they had also stopped growing. The Zephyrian cities were beautiful, but they had not changed in 2,000 years. The people were intelligent, but they thought the same thoughts their ancestors had thought. Their science advanced slowly because they had forever to solve problems. That evening they visited a Nexari world, where beings made of living crystal processed information at the speed of light. The Nexari could think faster than any computer, but Maya noticed they used their incredible minds to endlessly analyze the same old problems. "We have calculated the perfect society." One Nexari explained, "Its patterns never need adjustment because we have eliminated all variables." "But what about surprise?" Maya asked. "What about discovery?" "Surprise is inefficient," the crystal being replied. "Discovery is unnecessary when all knowledge can be calculated." Maya felt sadness for these ancient races. They had achieved everything humans dreamed of, but had lost something precious in the process. The fire that drove humans to create and explore and love had been extinguished in these perfect beings. Back on Confluence Point that night, Maya met with Lisa and Amy in their quarters to discuss what they had seen. "They are offering us immortality," Lisa said, "but at what cost? Did you see how empty their eyes looked? They have no passion, no urgency, no real joy." Amy nodded. "I tried to talk to young Sylvani about music, They listened to the same songs their great-grandparents loved. Nothing new has been created. In centuries, Maya stared out at the stars through their window. These aliens had invited humans here for a reason. She was beginning to suspect it was not just scientific curiosity. The next day, Counselor Vex Hera invited them to a private meeting. Her forearms moved constantly as she spoke, betraying nervousness that seemed unusual for someone so ancient. "We have a proposition for you humans," she said. "Your species intrigues us because you achieve so much in such brief lives. We want to study this phenomenon." "What kind of study?" Maya asked. "We can extend your lifespans indefinitely," Vex Hera explained. "Our medical technology can stop aging and prevent disease. You could live for thousands of years, like us." The offer hung in the air like a challenge. Maya felt her heart race at the possibility of living forever, of seeing the universe change over millennia of learning, things that took lifetimes to understand. But she also remembered the empty eyes of the aliens. They had met the way they spoke of art and music, as if these things had been solved like mathematical equations. "What do you want in return?" she asked. "Simply to observe," Vex Hera replied. "We want to see if humans can maintain their intensity, their creativity, their passion, even with extended lifespans. So we would be test subjects." Amy said. "Research partners," Vex Hera corrected. Though the distinction might be meaningless to you, Maya looked at her companions and saw her own conflict reflected. In their faces, the offer was everything humanity had ever dreamed of, and everything they should fear. "We will need time to consider this," Maya said. "Of course." Vex Hera smiled with too many teeth. "Take all the time you need. We have been waiting for an answer to this question for thousands of years." That night, Maya lay awake thinking about the choice before them. Immortality was the ultimate prize, but these aliens had shown her what it really cost. The Sylvani had perfect art, but no new artists. The Zephyrians had perfect science, but no breakthrough discoveries. The Nexari had perfect logic, but no wonder. She thought about Earth, where humans lived brief, passionate lives filled with mistakes and triumphs, where people loved desperately because they knew it would not last forever, where artists created because they had something urgent to say. Maya realized that mortality was not a curse to be cured. It was the force that drove humans to make every moment count. The aliens had lost that when they gained forever. But maybe there was another way. Maybe humans could teach these ancient beings something about living while learning from their wisdom. The question was whether humanity was brave enough to try. Dr. Zara Lynn led them through corridors that pulsed with organic light, toward what she called the research facility. Maya felt nervous energy building in her chest as they walked. The purple-skinned scientist seemed excited to show them her work. "This is where we have perfected the immortality process," Zara Lynn explained with her forearms, gesturing enthusiastically. "We have successfully extended the lives of beings from 17 different species." The facility looked more like a living organism than a building. Walls breathed slowly, and floors felt warm under their feet. Chambers filled with glowing liquid lined the corridors, and Maya could see shapes floating inside those. "Our volunteers from various species," Zara Lynn said when she noticed Maya staring. "They are undergoing the final stages of treatment. Each process is customized for the specific biology of the subject." Dr. Lisa Park took readings with her hidden instruments while trying to look casual. "How long does the process take?" she asked. "For humans it would require approximately 30 days, Zara Lynn replied. "The treatment rebuilds cellular structures at the genetic level, replacing aging mechanisms with regenerative ones." Zami Chen walked beside a Sylvani assistant who had introduced herself as Nala. The young alien seemed different from others they had met. Her eyes held more life, and her movements were less perfectly controlled. "I volunteered for human observation duty," Nala explained, "because your species is unlike anything we have encountered. Most beings who achieve space travel have already learned patience. You still burn with urgency." Maya found herself liking this particular alien. Nala seemed to have retained some spark that others had lost. Maybe it was because she was young by Sylvani standards, only 3 centuries old. They entered a large chamber where several beings floated in treatment pods. The subjects came from different worlds, but they all wore the same peaceful expression, Maya noticed. Their faces looked almost empty of emotion. These individuals completed treatment over the past decade, Zara Lynn said proudly. They have been monitoring their adjustment to immortal life. The process has been completely successful. Can we speak with them? Amy asked. Of course. Zara Lynn activated a communication system. Subject 7. Please share your experience with our human guests. A being with blue skin and tentacles instead of hair opened its eyes. The voice that came from the speakers was calm and measured. I have been alive for 2,000 years before treatment, and now face infinite existence. The experience is satisfactory. Maya felt cold at the emotionless response. What do you do with your time? She asked. I observe and analyze. Subject 7 replied. Learning continues, though urgency for discovery has diminished. All pursuits have equal value when time is unlimited. Dr. Lisa Park leaned forward. Do you create anything new? Do you have hobbies or passions? The concept of passion is difficult to define now. Subject 7 said, all activities provide equal satisfaction. Creation seems unnecessary when existing works are sufficient. Maya exchanged looks with her team. The immortal being sounded like a computer giving status reports. There was intelligence, but no soul behind the words. Nala seemed disturbed by the interaction as well. She guided them to a quieter area of the facility, where they could talk privately. I have been studying your species files, she said quietly. Your people create art and music constantly, even though your individual lives are brief. Why do you not focus on practical survival? Bait? 'Cause survival alone is not living, Amy replied. We need meaning and beauty and new experiences to feel truly alive. Tilted her head in a gesture Maya was learning meant deep thought. Our people have forgotten this. They have all the time in the universe, but spend it maintaining what already exists. Dr. Zara Lynn rejoined them with data tablets in her forehands. I have been analyzing human psychological profiles. Your emotional responses are remarkably complex, much more variable than other species. What does that mean? Maya asked. Most species showed decreased emotional range after immortality treatment, Zara Lynn explained, but humans might retain intensity longer. Your neuroplasticity is extraordinary. Maya felt a chill as she realized what the scientist was really saying. They want to test whether humans can stay human even after becoming immortal. We would be guinea pigs? Zimi Chen had been listening to conversations throughout the facility using her translation devices. She moved closer to Maya and spoke quietly. The other aliens are calling us the last hope, Captain. They think humans might be able to solve their stagnation problem. Maya asked Nala to show them historical records of other species who had undergone the immortality process. The files painted a disturbing picture. Every civilization showed the same pattern at first. The newly immortal beings were excited about their unlimited time. They made plans spanning centuries and began ambitious projects. But within decades, the passion faded. Without the urgency of mortality, they lost interest in growth and changed. Kaleri had been master musicians before treatment. Afterward, they listened to the same songs for 1,000 years without creating anything new. The Threnody were explorers who stopped traveling once they realized they had forever to see the universe. Even worse, Maya discovered that many immortal beings eventually chose to enter stasis for centuries at a time. Life became so routine that they preferred to sleep through it. This is what we are offering you, Nala said sadly. Perfect existence without fear of death, but also without the fire that makes life meaning. Maya walked through the facility, observing the immortal subjects. They were all technically alive and healthy, but they seemed like beautiful statues rather than living beings there. Conversations were logical, but lacked the spark of true engagement. Dr. Lisa Park made a breakthrough while analyzing alien medical data. Maya, the cellular changes are not just physical, she said. The immortality process alters brain chemistry in ways that reduce emotional intensity over time. So even if we kept our passion at first, Maya said we would eventually become like them. The data suggests that outcome yes, Lisa replied, though human neurology might resist the changes longer than other species. That evening Maya met privately with Counselor Vex Hera to discuss what they had learned. The four-armed aliens seemed pleased by their visit to the research facility. Your species shows great promise. Vex Hera said, we believe humans might maintain their creative drive, even with extended lifespans. Maya decided to be direct. Why is this so important to you? What do your people gain from studying US? Vex Hera was quiet for a long moment, then spoke with unusual honesty. We are dying, Captain Rodriguez. Not physically, but spiritually. Our civilizations have achieved perfection, but lost purpose. We hope studying humans will help us remember what we have forgotten. Maya understood now. The aliens were not offering immortality out of kindness. They were desperate to find a cure for the emptiness that came with eternal life. The next day, Amy Chen volunteered for preliminary testing. Despite Maya protests, she believed understanding the process was worth the risk. Dr. Zara Lin assured them the initial scans would not cause permanent changes. Lay in a scanning chamber while alien instruments analyzed her brain patterns. The results amazed the scientists. Human neural activity was far more complex than they expected. Emotions and creativity were woven into brain structure in ways they had never seen. Your friend shows remarkable resilience to emotional dampening. Zara Lin told Maya the human mind might resist the changes that affect other species, but might is not will. Maya replied Amy Chen was risking her humanity for knowledge, and Maya was not sure it was worth it. As Amy underwent more tests, Maya realized they faced an impossible choice. Accept immortality and risk losing everything that made them human, refuse and watch the aliens continue their empty eternal existence. There had to be another option, Maya thought. A way to help both species, without destroying what made them unique. But finding that solution would require understanding something that had puzzled philosophers for millennia. What was the relationship between mortality and meaning? Maya looked at her reflection in the facility windows and made a decision. She would not let her people become beautiful, empty statues like the other immortal beings, but she also would not abandon these aliens to their perfect, meaningless existence. There had to be a third choice, and Maya Rodriguez was determined to find it. Amy Chen emerged from the scanning chamber with a strange smile on her face. Dr. Zara Lin helped her sit up, while alien instruments continued recording her brain patterns. How do you feel, Amy? Maya asked with concern. Like I understand something. I did not before, Amy replied. Her voice carried a dreamy quality that worried Maya. I can see why immortality appeals to them. The fear of death creates so much unnecessary anxiety. Dear Lisa Park quickly ran medical scans on Amy, while Maya watched for signs of personality change. The preliminary testing was supposed to be harmless, but Maya had learned to distrust alien promises. Amy, brain chemistry shows minor alterations, Lisa reported quietly to Maya. Nothing permanent yet, but we should monitor her carefully. Maya made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. We need to try a different approach, she announced to the assembled aliens. Instead of making humans immortal, what if we help you remember how to be mortal? The silence that followed was profound. Counselor Vex Hera for arms went completely still. Ambassador Liralay's eyes widened with something that might have been fear. Even Dr. Zara Lin stopped her constant note-taking. That is impossible, Liralay said finally. We cannot reverse thousands of years of evolution. Our biology will not permit shortened lifespans. Maya smiled the way she did when explaining simple concepts to new recruits. Not biological mortality, she said. Cultural mortality. What if some of your people chose to live as if their time was limited? Amy Chen shook her head, clearing the dreamy expression from her face. Maya is right, she said. The scans showed me something. The immortal subjects have not lost the capacity for emotion, they have simply forgotten how to access it. Dr. Zara Lin leaned forward, with intense interest explained. Please. Humans feel urgency, because we know time is short. Amy continued, but urgency is just a mindset. What if aliens chose to impose artificial limits on themselves? Decided to accomplish goals within set time? Nola had been listening quietly, but now she spoke with excitement. This could work, young Silvani. Sometimes choose century-long projects to give their lives structure, but we always abandon them when they become difficult because you know you have forever to try again, Maya said. But what if you committed to completing them anyway? What if you chose to care about deadlines even when they are artificial? Dr. Lisa Park was already running calculations on her tablet. If aliens volunteered to live with self-imposed mortality pressures, they might rediscover passion without biological changes, she said. The brain pathways for creativity are still there, just unused. Vex. Hera spoke slowly, as if testing. The idea you suggest we choose to pretend we are mortal, even though we are not pretend, Maya corrected. Choose to value time as if it matters. Commit to projects with real deadlines. Create art with the urgency of beings who might not finish it. The aliens looked at each other with expressions Maya could not read. She realized she was asking them to fundamentally change how they thought about existence after millennia of timeless living, but some of them seemed intrigued. Nala was practically vibrating with excitement. Dr. Zara Lynn had begun scribbling notes faster than her forehands could move. Even Ambassador Lirile appeared thoughtful rather than dismissive. There is precedent for this approach, Lirile said finally, in our early history. Before immortality was achieved, young Silvani would take vows of artificial limitation to focus their minds. What kind of vows? Amy asked. A century to master an art form. Lirile replied. A decade to solve a scientific problem, a year to create something beautiful. The constraints were seen as tools for growth. So, you already know how to do this, Maya said. You just stopped when you gained unlimited time. Nala stepped forward eagerly. I volunteer to try this approach. I will choose mortal-style limitations for myself and see if it restores what we have lost. Dr. Zara Lynn looked up from her notes. But this is just the beginning. We need to understand why humans maintain passion despite mortality. The answer lies in your neural patterns. Maya had an idea. What if we created an exchange program? Young aliens could live with human communities to experience our mindset. Humans could work with aliens to learn your knowledge without losing our humanity. The proposal created immediate debate among the aliens. Some were excited by the possibility of feeling passion again, others worried about disrupting their perfect society. Counselor, vexed Hera raised her forehands for silence. This would require approval from the High Council, she said. Many will resist changing our fundamental approach to existence, but others will see it as our only hope for growth. Lirile added, we have been stagnant for millennia. This offers a chance to rediscover purpose. Dr. Zara Lynn was already designing experiments. We could start with small groups, volunteers from both species, young beings who still remember curiosity matched with humans who can teach them urgency. Maya felt hope building in her chest. This was better than either species achieving immortality or remaining mortal. It was about sharing the best aspects of both approaches to life. And me. Chen had recovered completely from her testing and was taking notes on the conversation. What about combining approaches? She suggested. Some aliens choose limited mortality, while others help humans extend lifespans safely. Not full immortality, Maya said, but longer lives with preserved humanity. Give us centuries instead of forever. Let us learn and explore while keeping our sense of urgency. Nala clapped her hands together. This solves both problems. Humans gain time to achieve great things while aliens regain motivation to use their unlimited time meaningfully. The debates continued for hours with different factions of aliens arguing about the risks and benefits. Maya noticed that the discussion itself seemed to energize them. They were engaged in a way she had not seen before. Finally, Lirile called for a formal vote among the alien representatives present. The decision would not be final, but it would show whether the idea had enough support to present to their governments. One by one the aliens voted. Maya held her breath as each representative chose. The vote was closer than she hoped, but the progressives won by a narrow margin. We will propose the cultural Exchange accords to our respective councils, Vex Hera announced. Humans and aliens working together to rediscover what makes existence meaningful. Zarlin approached Maya, with excitement in her expression. This could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness and motivation, she said. We could learn to be alive again. Maya looked around the room at aliens who suddenly seemed more animated than before. Just the possibility of change had awakened something in them. The spark of possibility was already working its magic, but she knew the real challenge lay ahead. Conservative factions would resist the proposal. Many aliens and humans would fear the risks of such unprecedented cooperation. However, Maya felt confident they were on the right path. Humans and aliens each had something the other needed. The key was sharing rather than taking, learning rather than changing, trading perspectives instead of trading away their souls. As the meeting ended, Maya realized they had stumbled onto something far more important than immortality. They had discovered that meaning came not from living forever, but from choosing to make forever meaningful. The real question now was whether both species would be brave enough to take that leap together. 6 months later, Maya Rodriguez stood in the same conference room on Confluence Point, but everything had changed. The sterile perfection had been replaced with artwork created by human and alien collaborators. Plants from Earth grew alongside alien flowers, creating hybrid gardens that no single species could have imagined. The Renaissance Accord had been signed after months of heated debate among both human and alien governments. Conservative factions on both sides had fought the proposal, but the promise of mutual growth had won out. Ambassador Lirelei entered the room, carrying a canvas that still glistened with wet paint. Her silver hair was streaked with blue and green smudges, and her perfect robes showed signs of creative chaos. Maya smiled at the sight. The dignified alien diplomat had become an eager art student. Have completed my first painting in 3,000 years, Lirelei announced with pride that seemed genuine. The subject is a human sunset, but interpreted through Silvani, color perception. Maya examined the artwork, which showed familiar Earth landscape rendered in hues that human eyes could barely process. It was beautiful and strange, a perfect symbol of their cultural exchange. How does it feel to create again? Maya asked. Like remembering how to breathe, Lirelei replied. I had forgotten that art could surprise even the artist. During the painting process, I discovered colors I did not know existed in my mind. Derlisa Park approached them, carrying reports from the various exchange sites. 12 human communities were now hosting young aliens, while 15 alien worlds had welcomed human researchers. The results exceeded all expectations. Zami Chen had established the first human-alien cultural center right here on Confluence Point. Her job was to facilitate communication and understanding between species who thought about existence in fundamentally different ways. The most dramatic changes occurred among the alien volunteers. 23 beings from various species had chosen temporary mortality treatments, reducing their lifespans from millennia to mere centuries. The results were remarkable. Nala had become the poster child for the program. The young Silvani had chosen a 50-year limitation for her first project, creating a musical composition that told the story of her people through human eyes. Her work incorporated urgency and passion that Silvani music had not seen in ages. Dr. Zara Lin had made breakthrough discoveries about consciousness and creativity by studying human volunteers. Her research showed that mortality pressure activated specific brain patterns that immortal beings had suppressed rather than lost. Maya walked through the cultural center, observing the daily miracles of cooperation. A Nexari crystal being was learning to paint with human artists, discovering that logical perfection could be enhanced by emotional expression. A group of humans worked with Zephyrian scientists, developing medical treatments that extended life without eliminating the drive for achievement. Most successful exchange involved elderly humans who volunteered to work with ancient aliens. Both groups had wisdom to share, but approached it differently. The humans had learned to value each moment, while the aliens had perspective that came from vast experience. Counselor Vex Hera approached Maya with news from the Veil Thera High Council. The exchange program has been so successful that we are expanding it, she announced with all four arms gesturing enthusiastically. 5 more species have requested to participate. Maya felt deep satisfaction at this news, but also some concern. The program was growing faster than anyone had expected. How are the conservative factions responding? She asked. Some resistance remains, Vexhera admitted, but results speak louder than fears. Our people are creating again, exploring again, feeling genuine excitement for the first time in centuries. Emmy Chen joined their conversation, carrying a communication. Tablet Earth wants to establish permanent exchange colonies, she reported. 3 human worlds have been approved for alien settlement, while the Empire is offering 5 planets for human development. Maya considered the implications of such rapid expansion. The program was succeeding beyond their wildest hopes. But success brought its own challenges. Moving from experimental exchanges to permanent colonies was a massive step. Dr. Lisa Park had been monitoring the long-term effects on both humans and aliens. Her reports showed that humans in the program were developing enhanced learning abilities and improved health, while aliens were regaining creativity and emotional depth without losing their accumulated wisdom. But the most important changes were harder to measure in scientific terms. Maya saw it in the way aliens moved with renewed purpose and humans spoke with deeper thoughtfulness. The exchange was creating hybrid approaches to existence that were better than either species had achieved. Alon Ambassador Lirele had completed her temporary mortality treatment, but chose to continue living with artificial constraints. She now worked on decade-long projects and committed to deadlines despite having unlimited time. The approach had transformed her from a beautiful statue into a dynamic creator. Maya herself had volunteered for life extension treatments that would give her 3 centuries instead of the normal human lifespan. The process preserved her humanity while providing time to oversee the cultural exchange program properly. The real breakthrough came when mixed communities began forming on several worlds, humans and aliens living together, permanently creating hybrid cultures that neither species could have developed alone. These settlements became laboratories for new approaches to meaning and purpose. Children born in mixed communities showed remarkable abilities combining human creativity with alien knowledge. The next generation would grow up taking cooperation between species for granted. Maya stood on the observation deck of Confluence Point watching ships arrive from dozens of worlds carrying beings eager to participate in the exchange program. The station had grown into a true meeting place where different approaches to existence could flourish. Darzar Lin approached with her latest research findings. We have identified the key difference between humans and other species, she announced excitedly. Humans developed collective immortality rather than individual immortality. Maya asked her to explain. Your species achieves continuity through cultural transmission. Zara Lin said each generation builds on previous achievements, creating progress that transcends individual lifespans. Other species focused on preserving individuals rather than advancing the collectives. So, human civilization is immortal, even though individual humans are not. Maya said exactly, Zara Lin replied, and that collective immortality drove constant innovation, because each generation knew they had limited time to contribute to the whole. Amy Chen had overheard the conversation and added her own insight. The aliens taught us that immortality without purpose is meaningless. We taught them that purpose requires urgency, even if that urgency is chosen rather than imposed. Maya reflected on how much had changed since that first dinner with alien diplomats. The question had not been whether to make humans immortal, but how to make immortality meaningful. The Renaissance Accord had created something unprecedented, a partnership between species that shared knowledge and perspective. Without forcing either to abandon their essential nature, humans remained human, but with extended time to achieve their goals. Aliens remained immortal, but had rediscovered the passion that made infinite time worthwhiles. Maya watched the sunset through the station windows. She thought about the future. Generations of humans and aliens would grow up together, sharing the best aspects of both approaches to existence. Counselor, Vex. Hera joined her at the window with a satisfied expression on her purple face. We sought to make you immortal, she said. But instead you made us truly alive again. Maya smiled, knowing that both species had gained something far more valuable than longer life. They had discovered that meaning came not from how long you existed but from how you chose to use whatever time you had. The Renaissance Accord had created the greatest cultural exchange in galactic history, but more importantly it had proven that different approaches to existence could enhance rather than threaten each other. The future stretched ahead, full of possibilities that no single species could have imagined alone, and Maya Rodriguez, former captain turned cultural ambassador, was proud to be part of humanity's greatest adventure, teaching the universe how to live.